Well, the climate wars are back and big. Queensland's greenhouse gas emission reduction targets will be enshrined in law after state MPs overwhelmingly backed the move. Queensland will transition to 50% renewable energy by 2030, 70% by 2032 and 80% by 2035, with a goal to become net zero by 2050.
Now, opposition leader David Crisafulli has refused to admit whether his decision to back in Labor's emissions targets has caused division between state and federal LNP members. This is despite several Conservative MPs voicing their disapproval over the move.
Yeah, it's an interesting one for sure. Hugo, do you think a Liberal government should be backing this kind of green crusade?
Look, I think Queensland is quite well known for having an abundance of resources like coal and gas in particular, and I'm not sure that it's going to be the right direction by putting all their eggs in this basket. I think there needs to be a balanced mix, and we need to be looking at what the solution is to produce the cheapest overall energy product for the state. And I think putting all the eggs in that one basket and backing it so ferociously, I don't think that's the wisest decision. I think we need to look at it as a balanced mix.
Tanika, I've got to say, I agree with Hugo because you do want to put your eggs in different baskets, but Queenslanders don't have a choice now with the LNP unbelievably and inexplicably backing in the Labor energy policy.
Yeah, and except their power bills are still going up.
Exactly. Well, Treasurer Grim Jim Chalmers is giving his grimness a good workout again. He's today warning China's sluggish economy is blowing a multi-billion-dollar hole in the federal budget and that the risk of war in the Middle East could see cost of living soar again.
Global factors will be a big part of the next few weeks as we put the finishing touches on the budget. We're obviously monitoring very closely the situation in China. We're monitoring very closely the consequences, the implications of escalating tensions in the Middle East.
Yes, we know Chalmers is always quick to use geopolitical woes as a scapegoat. But Belinda, do you think it's really Albo and Labor that are to blame here for cost of living?
I think there's definitely some degree of that as a factor. I think it's quite miraculous it's taken us getting to where we are now for them to actually take action and want to do something about it. So I think, there's definitely a lot going on in the world right now, and I think definitely the Labor government have been letting the Australian people down on that front.
Paul, I want to ask you this. Jim Chalmers has previously blamed for the government's financial woes Scott Morrison. Then it was COVID, then it was Ukraine, then it was Philip Lowy, the former Reserve Bank Governor-General, then it was the banks, then it was supermarkets, now it's China and the Middle East. I'm just curious, Paul, who do you reckon Jim Chalmers will blame next?
Well, he won't blame the person he should be blaming, which is himself and his government, because they're the ones who have been pretty much irresponsible for, at the end of the day, this has happened on their watch. They promised $275 discount on our power bills, which hasn't happened. He's blamed everyone else but himself and the Albanese government for what's been going on. So ultimately, they have to at least say, look, we're responsible for it, or this is partly our fault, or this is our fault because of. So at least then the Australian will know if this government can take responsibility for its errors, we can at least give them credit for what they do right, which hasn't been much lately.
Absolutely, well spoken. This is why I like the People's Panel.
Absolutely. Well, they're thinking what we're all thinking.
Absolutely.
Exactly.